Welcome and thank you for standing by. At this time, all participants are in a listen-only mode until the question and answer session of today's call. At that time, if you would like to ask a question, you may press star 1. Today's conference is being recorded. If you have any objections, you may disconnect at this time. I would now like to turn the meeting over to Andrew Schlack. You may begin.
Great. Thank you, Valerie. Good afternoon or good morning, everyone, depending on what part of the country you're joining us from. Welcome to the Thinking About the Fiscal Year 2021 CDFI and Native Initiative Program Getting Started pre-application webinar. Hope everyone's safe and well. Thanks for taking time out of your schedules today to join us on today's call. I'm Andrew Schlack. I'm an associate program manager on the team, and I'm just going to tee us up. My colleagues Matthew Pickering and Elizabeth Hoffman will be doing most of today's presentation, but just to share the context for today's presentation is a brief 15 to 20 minute slide presentation to ensure that everyone is set up for success to apply and to be able to apply for the fiscal year 2021 funding round. A couple of housekeeping items that we will not be covering today, but we will have time for question and answer. But things that we're not going to cover today are any past funding round decisions. So any information about a past application or past funding rounds, we will not be covering. Anything specific on matching funds, so one of the requirements for the financial assistance application will not be covering anything related to matching funds. Anything specific about the application itself, again, we are, the notice of funding availability has not been published, the NOFA, and until that's published, we don't have any specifics on the application to talk about. And finally, any instructions on how to enter any application data into the Awards Management Information System, or AMOS. And so really today's goal is to help people set up the various accounts and infrastructure to, once the NOFA is published, and we've done this the past couple of years, and most groups have given us really positive feedback on this particular webinar, especially for new groups who might not be in AMOS or some of the other federal data systems that are required in order to successfully apply for funding. So at this point, I'd like to introduce Matthew Pickering, an associate, a senior portfolio manager on the team, and Elizabeth Hoffman, who will take us through most of today's content. Matthew.
Great, thank you, Andrew. So really quickly, for those of us who aren't familiar with the CDFI and NACA programs, the CDFI program and the Native American CDFI Assistance Program, or NACA program, have a purpose of promoting economic revitalization and community development through investment and assistance to CDFIs, and to build the capacity of for-profit and nonprofit community-based lending organizations serving rural and urban low-income people, and for NACA, serving Native communities that lack adequate access to affordable financial products and services. So for the fiscal year 2021 funding round for the CDFI and NACA programs, we have the same two broad award programs. Those would be the Technical Assistance, or TA program, and the Financial Assistance, or FA program. And under financial assistance, we're going to have the base financial assistance, or base FA application, which is the application that all applicants applying for FA are going to fill out. Now, as an option, if you are applying for financial assistance, FA, you can also choose to apply for one or more of a number of supplemental applications, including persistent poverty counties, PPCFA, disability funds, DFFA, and Healthy Food Financing Initiatives, HFFI-FA. So you can see here that we have divided the fiscal year funding round application process into 3 separate parts. And the purpose of today's presentation is going to be to discuss the pre-application phase. And as part of that, we're going to be going over sam.gov and Grants.gov, which is where applicants are going to submit their SF-424s. And we're also going to talk about your AMOS account. And AMOS is the Awards Management Information System, and that is the CDFI Fund's online grants management system. So just take a brief note that applicants should always go to the CDFI Fund's website, click on the applicable program for what they're applying for, whether that's CDFI or NACA program, and go to Step 2 Application Process. And on that page, you'll find a series of guidance materials and the NOFAs once they're published. And as those materials become available, they'll get posted there under that Step 2 Application Process page. Great, so we want to take a couple of quick minutes at the beginning here to go over the basic funding round schedule for applicants. And you'll notice that we have a TBD on the deadline for the NOFA release. But we generally expect the NOFA to be published in the first quarter of the calendar year, 2021. So look for that NOFA in the first 3 months of 2021 at some point. The CDFI certification deadline. So please take note, if you're an SA applicant, you need to be a certified CDFI as of the date that NOFA appears in the Federal Register. So if you're a TA applicant, it is not necessary to be a certified CDFI. But note, if you are an SA applicant, you have to be a certified CDFI on the date of the NOFA publication. And you'll notice that 30 days after that NOFA is published, there are 4 distinct deadlines that are kind of the midpoint of this application process. So first, all applicants will need to submit their SF-424s for application for federal assistance through Grants.gov. For new applicants who don't have an AMOS account already, you're going to have to create an AMOS account. And we'll also ask that you enter your EIN and DUNS numbers into that AMOS account. Also, something that's new this year, the same deadline, 30 days after the NOFA publication, is that applicants who qualify for the CECA program, and that is the Small and Emerging CDFI Assistance Program, that's a subset of the FA program, and it's generally it's for smaller organizations with a maximum award size of $700,000. If those applicants who are eligible for that program would like to apply for more than $700,000, which would put them in the core FA group, they can do so, but they have to submit a service request in AMOS by that same deadline, 30 days after the NOFA publication. And finally, you'll see that 60 days after NOFA publication, all CDFI program and NACA program applications for both FA and TA are going to be due in AMOS. And now I'm going to hand it over to Elizabeth Hoffman, who's going to talk us through a little bit about EIN and DUNS numbers.
Thanks, Matthew. Hello, everyone. This is Elizabeth. Now I'm going to discuss some organizations that some steps your organization can take right now to get started to position yourself to be ready when the FY21 round opens. So for our new organizations, you'll need to obtain an EIN, an employer identification number, and a DUNS number, your Dun & Bradstreet number. These are 2 key numbers used in many systems. For all our organizations, you need to register if you're new and or update your account in 3 specific federal systems, SAM.gov, Grants.gov, and AMOS. And we'll look at each of those in turn here in a moment. When you're working on your EIN and DUNS number, the most important thing is that it needs to be accurate and uniform, the same across all of your government accounts. Every year, unfortunately, we have an organization or 2 that accidentally submits an application or the SF-424 under the EIN or DUNS of their parent organization or an affiliate. If that happens, our hands are tied. There is nothing we can do. So please, as you are entering those numbers, make sure that it is the number of the organization that, your organization that is going to spend the money that you are entering into your systems. Your AMOS and SAM.gov numbers should match. And if they do not, again, the CDFI fund reserves the right to reject your application, but we really don't want to have to do that. So let's please make sure that your numbers are in order and correct. Next, I'm going to talk about the SAM.gov system, the system for awards management. This is a government-wide system for all federal programs and grants. So if your organization has not registered in SAM.gov, please do so as soon as possible. In fact, you can do that as soon as you get off the webinar today. If you have used SAM.gov before you're an existing user, you want to make sure your account is active and up to date. I believe accounts need to be updated on an annual basis, so getting that taken care of now will set you up for success later. Part of the reason why SAM.gov is so important is because you need to be active there to be able to submit your SF424 through Grants.gov. And again, you don't want to be one of those few organizations every year that doesn't quite get their ball rolling in time, and we have to say, oh, I'm sorry, we can't let you in late. So do get those systems registered for now. Last piece to note is that the CDFI fund, we do not maintain SAM.gov. That's a government-wide system, so if you need any technical assistance on using that website, please contact the Federal Service Desk. And now I'd like to turn it back over to Matthew to talk about the second system, Grants.gov.
Great, thank you, Elizabeth. So Grants.gov is the portal through which all applicants are going to have to submit their SF424s. So, as we talked about earlier in the deadline slide, please remember that the applicants have to submit their SF424 through Grants.gov by that deadline, which is 30 days after the NOFA publication. And we also want to make everybody aware that not only is it that you submit the SF424 through Grants.gov by that deadline, but we need it to be accepted and validated by Grants.gov at that deadline. That said, it's really very, very important to not wait until the last minute to submit that SF424 through Grants.gov. It could take some amount of time for the SF424 to be accepted and validated. So please do try to get that in to Grants.gov as early as possible. If you're a new Grants.gov user, please go on and register at Grants.gov as soon as possible. Again, that's also a process that can take some amount of time. And if you're an existing user, please log on to Grants.gov just to make sure that your account is active and up to date. So a note here about award request amount. If the amount of FA or TA award that you request on your SF424 happens to be different from what you request in your application that you submit in AMOS, just know that the CDFI fund is only going to consider the award request amount in the AMOS application. And finally, as Elizabeth noted earlier, for SAM.gov, please remember that the CDFI fund doesn't maintain Grants.gov either. So if you have any questions at all about Grants.gov or submitting your SF424, please reach out to Grants.gov directly. Okay, so one note here about submitting your SF424 over the correct program funding opportunity number. So the program funding opportunity number can be found on the applicable NOFA for the program to which you're applying. So either the CDFI NOFA or the NACA NOFA. It's very important that if you are a CDFI applicant that you not submit your SF424 with the NACA program funding opportunity number. And conversely, if you're a NACA program applicant, please don't submit your SF424 with the program funding opportunity number of the CDFI program. If you happen to submit your SF424 with the incorrect program funding opportunity, okay. If you happen to submit your SF424 with the incorrect program funding opportunity number, Unfortunately, the CDFI fund is going to have to deem that application ineligible, so please be careful to select the correct program funding opportunity number. And now I'm going to give it back to Elizabeth, who's going to talk about the Awards Management Information System, or AMOS.
Thanks, Matthew. So AMOS is our favorite system because this is the one the CDFI fund does manage. This is our grants management system. Every applicant must be registered as an organization at AMOS. You will submit all of your required application materials except that SF424 through AMOS. So the different narrative questions and financial data tables, that'll all be coming into us through AMOS. If you are a brand new applicant, you need to go ahead and create that AMOS account by the deadline of 30 days after the NOFA publication. That is a popular deadline. All applicants must also have their EIN and DUNS numbers entered, again, of your own organization that intends to use the funds, not a parent organization. Within AMOS, this is something all users can do is go in and make sure that you have an authorized representative designated. You know, make sure that if there's some turnover in your organization, you have the correct email addresses in there. And just one note, authorized representatives need to be somebody that has legal authority to sign documents on your agency's behalf, so not a consultant for that, although consultants may be points of contact. And of course, another reason we ask you to register and update your accounts are so that we can make sure that you receive important information and communications, such as when the NOFA arises. All right, now I think it's time for a little review. Matthew, are you up for a pop quiz?
I'm ready.
All right, first question. True or false? The CDFI fund maintains and runs the SAM.gov and Grants.gov systems.
That is false.
That is correct. If you need help with those systems, please see the Federal Service Center that runs them. Next question. True or false? All the 2021 application components, including the SF424, must be submitted via AMOS.
It's a tough one, but I'm going to go with false.
That is correct, Matthew. Almost all of them are submitted by AMOS, but the SF424 needs to be submitted in Grants.gov, and that deadline will be 30 days after the NOFA publication, whereas the rest of the application is due 60 days after NOFA publication. Third question, true or false? Applicants are encouraged to submit their SF424 forms as early as possible.
Definitely true.
Yes. Please get registered in those systems, get ready in Grants.gov. You can submit your SF424, the day after the NOFA is published. Those SF424s do need to be validated as well. If you do it and there's an error, it will be rejected and sent back to you. So you want to leave plenty of time just in case you have to resubmit for any reason, that there's plenty of time to get that by that deadline. True or false? CEQA eligible applicants, again, those are our small and emerging groups, who want to apply for more than $700,000 must request to do so no later than 30 days after the publication of the NOFA.
That is correct.
Yes. We're highlighting this again because this is a new item this year. Most of our small and emerging groups do just, want to apply under the CEQA pool. It is less competitive than the larger core pool, and you don't have to do matching funds, so there's definitely advantages to applying under CEQA. But if you are a group that wants to take a risk and apply in the more competitive core pool, there are a few pieces of the application that will be different. So we need to receive that from your group as a service request via your AMOS account, but again at that 30-day deadline. All right, final question, true or false? The CDFI fund will reject applications that are submitted with the EIN or DUNS of a parent or affiliate organization.
That's true.
Yes, it is. And please make sure this isn't you. Double, triple check your numbers. It's so heartbreaking every year. There's one or two groups we have to tell them they can't move forward with their application. So please, make sure that the number you're using is the EIN and DUNS of your organization. That concludes our formal presentation. Thank you for participating in today's workshop. And now we'd like to open it up for question and answers.
Great job, Elizabeth and Matthew. Thank you. As Valerie is getting our questions teed up, and congratulations, Matthew, 100% on that pop quiz there. I was pulling for you, buddy. I'll respond to a couple of questions that came through the chat box, but Valerie, if you want to tee people up, let them know how to unmute and ask their question. If you want to tee people up, and then I'll respond to the questions that we've received in the chat. But we're encouraging everyone to ask their questions audibly. This is being recorded, and that's the only way we'll be able to capture everything that's in the chat log. So Valerie, do you want to tee that up?
Yes, thank you. If you would like to ask a question, please press *1 and record your name clearly when prompted. To withdraw your question, you may press *2. One moment, please, for our first question.
Okay, Valerie, so while you're getting people in the queue, there's a couple of questions that came in the chat, and again, please ask your questions through Valerie. But the slides for this webinar will be made available. We will post them online. This recording of this presentation will be made available as soon as we, have time to post it, and it comes from the conferencing center. So we're poised, as we have in previous funding rounds, to make all of these training and outreach webinars available, and will be posted on our website. And then, there was a little static there during one of the slides. At least on our end, it was like a temporary thing, and Matthew allowed time for the static to go away, but it seemed to have only affected that one recording, and so hopefully that's okay. It will come through, and it will probably appear in the recording, but the content was taken directly off the slides. So that's a response to the questions, and again, we'll be teed up now. Valerie, if there's anyone in the queue.
Our first question comes from Melody Stern. Your line is open.
Great. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Hey, Melody.
Hey, hi. It's Melanie Stern. I'm from Springbank, CDFI Bank, based in New York City. We did a lot of PPP loans, and we're a $200 million bank. We did almost $100 million in PPP loans. So my question is in regard to two things. One is, when we write our application, how do we account for those in terms of, increased lending, which would be impossible the following year given the increase from PPP. And the other question is, how do we deal with the fact that a considerable number of those loans may have been outside our target market?
So, Melody, right up front, I just want to limit today's conversation. That's a very application-specific question. Okay. And the intent, I pulled up this slide. Things that we won't be covering today are specifics on the application, and so we'd ask you to hold those questions until we, publish our NOFA. We really have no information to share at this point regarding specific, strategies, if you will, for putting together the application. Today, we've just asked to limit on getting the system set up, and I hope you're satisfied with that answer and those limits set at the top of the call. Thank you. But excellent question. I'm glad everyone's thinking about, that strategy and everything that's going on in the communities that are being served. Valerie, ready for the next question?
Our next question comes from a caller who did not record their name, but your line is open. Caller, go ahead. Yes, caller, go ahead.
I have a question, and I think you might have mentioned that, but just wanted to confirm. So do you need to be CDFI certified to apply to all of the funds, or is it just for the FA one?
A great question. So Matthew and Elizabeth took us through the content, and for the last 2 years, the financial assistance program groups must be certified by the time the NOFA is published to be able to apply for the FA program. The TA program is open to uncertified applicants.
Okay. Thank you.
Of course. We're ready for the next question, Valerie. Oh.
I was just going to say, this is Elizabeth at the CDFI Fund. I see another question has come in here through chat from Lisa Wagner. She notes that last year, if you accidentally submitted the wrong SF-424 through grants.gov, say if you were a CDFI program and you submitted it under the NACA or vice versa, you could go in and submit another one to correct the mistake. And that is possible, again, yes, this year. If you realize you've submitted it under the NACA program, but you're really CDFI, please go back and submit one for the CDFI, and that will take care of the problem. Valerie, we're ready for the next question.
I show no further questions in queue.
Oh, I'm seeing one more here in the chat. This is from Vicki Frank. She's asking about the new requirements for the CEQA eligible groups that plan to apply for more than $700,000. Vicki's question is regarding whether that is just for the base FA, and yes, Vicki, it is. So groups, as we noted, can also apply for supplemental programs of PPC, persistent poverty counties, DFSA, for disability funds, or HFFI for the Healthy Food Financing Initiative. Those would not count. It's just if a CEQA group would like to apply for more than $700,000 in base FA, that they would need to submit that service request. If others have questions, please do follow Valerie's instructions to submit them over the phone is the best way to do that.
Our next question comes from Bill. Your line is open.
I may be a little confused. I understood that to apply for financial assistance, you have to be certified, but can an emerging CDFI apply for financial assistance?
So was it Bill?
Yes.
So yeah, Bill, the financial assistance program is for the certified CDFI, so you have to obtain certification by the time the NOFA is published. And then the technical assistance program is designed for, and you can be a small and emerging CDFI and be certified. So if you're a small and emerging CDFI that's certified, you are eligible to apply for either the financial assistance or the technical assistance program. If you are not yet certified, the technical assistance program is designed to help you obtain certification, and so it would be prudent to apply for the technical assistance program as an uncertified CDFI.
Thank you.
Of course.
Our next question comes from Stephanie Murphy. Your line is open.
Thank you. We recently submitted a request to expand our target market, and we haven't received a response. How will that impact our ability to apply?
So it will not impact your ability to apply. We have worked with our colleagues in certification, and they, have agreed to prioritize any target market modifications as part of their review process. And again, today, so if you've already got your, modification request in with CCME, I would suggest, entering a service request. You can say, you were part of this call and just, check in. But as we have in years past, we've, modified the language that it's activities not only in a target market, but also in an eligible market. And so if you've put in the modification request, this becomes a moot point, but as part of the application, the activities are written around activities in a target market and or eligible market.
Thank you.
Of course.
Our next question comes from Lieshi Shindu. Your line is open.
Hi. We were one of the organizations who could not make the deadline last year because, this year in the spring, we had a problem with the cage number in the communication email responding some of the questions they had, but we finally got our cage number. So I'm assuming that does not change. We do not have to do that process again for the application in 2021, correct?
I'm not clear on the question. Maybe one of the teammates picked up the question. What system, what I heard application and number, what are you referring to?
The cage number, CAGE.
Oh, your cage number.
Yes.
Hi, this is Elizabeth, CDFI Fund. I'm not positive, but I think the cage number is that number doesn't change over time. So again, you can, after this call, work on, logging into or setting up your SAM.gov and Grants.gov accounts. And if that asks you for the cage number, you would put that in, and that should hopefully take care of the trouble you experienced last year.
Okay, thank you.
Our next question comes from Sarah Nelson-Pallmeyer. Your line is open.
Hi, thank you for taking my call. This is all new to me. I haven't done this before, but I did get an AMOS number, a SAM.gov, Grants.gov, DUNS number, all those numbers. I think I'm set. I have a couple questions. One is I get emails from somebody saying your SAM.gov is going to expire. Can we help you with that? And I think it's a company that's trying to get my business, and I just don't know that I need to do that. So I have a question about that. And the second thing is there anything else I can do to prepare, since this is something I hadn't done before, for the technical assistance? I watch the webinars, but is there anything else that would be helpful to prepare?
This is Andrew. I'll take the first shot and then just defer to teammates if they want to supplement any information. So we still have the materials from our last funding round, 2020, up online. And although the NOFA has not been published, we always, leave those materials up from last year for posterity. So if you're a new group who, had not sort of been involved in the process last year and you want to see what it looked like last year, that's a good, proxy of, how things will be once the NOFA is published. And so that would be a good referral point to review the materials that we have left online from our 2020 funding round. And I'll navigate and show people where that material is before we adjourn the call. And your first question, I had it on the tip of my tongue, but I just forgot what it was. I'm sorry.
Is my line open still?
Yes, we can hear you. Uh-huh.
Oh, okay. It's basically that I get these emails from somebody saying my SAM.gov account is going to expire and I need to do something about it. And I feel like some of those seems like other companies trying to get my business to help with that. And it seems like something I could just do myself.
Yeah, that's so it's probably that's exactly what they're doing. These, as Elizabeth shared, these need to be updated on an annual basis. And there's probably a series of, private companies who are offering to provide a service for groups that they have identified that their, accounts are expiring. But by all means, all the applicants that we have heard from, everyone's able to edit and maintain their SAM.gov account independently of having to, rely on any third-party vendor. So I'd encourage you to just log into SAM.gov and give it a shot.
Okay. And then the Grant.gov, I got a message that I had to re-up that. So I did, and then it said it would just only last for 2 more months. Is that because I did it before the end of the year and it starts over in January, or how is that?
I'm not 100% sure, and I think that goes in the camp of, these are systems that we don't maintain, and to follow up with their help desks on the resets of those. Again, those are systems outside of the CDFI fund's authority to even, opine on, as rules are subject to change, et cetera. But every, applicants that we've assisted in the past have had a good track record of success in, contacting the maintainers of those systems directly.
Okay, thank you so much.
Of course.
Our next question comes from Amy Fletcher. Your line is open. Amy Fletcher, your line is open.
I'm sorry, I was on. I had myself muted. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, hey, Amy.
Hi. Thanks so much. I don't know if you'll be able to answer this question for me or not. Last year, our organization was actually ineligible to apply under CORE or CECA because our portfolio size was too big for CECA and too small for CORE. And I was just wondering if that had been changed for this upcoming round or if the eligibility requirements for the two categories are still the same.
So appreciate the question, Amy. The NOFA has not been published yet, and I would just point back to a slide. I know some folks joined us late. Things that we're not covering this year are specifics about the application. So we don't have any more information to share on that aspect of the application from last year. And as soon as the NOFA is published, just like we did last year, we'll have a number of training webinars, et cetera, to go over any of the changes.
Okay, thank you.
Of course.
Our next question comes from Bill. Your line is open.
It's Bill again. I have a follow-up question. Our organization applied for and received a technical assistance grant for 2020, for which we're very appreciative. So I'm looking at the NOFA for 2020, and it talks about a base FA, Category 1, small and or emerging CDFI assistance, CECA, with a minimum of $350,000 and a maximum of $700,000. Will we be eligible to apply for that in 2021 if the no is the same?
Bill, I didn't catch, have you obtained your certification if you're a 2020 recipient of TA? I would assume not. Yeah, have you obtained your certification yet?
Sorry, I didn't make that clear. We are not certified yet.
Right, so the condition to apply for assistance through the financial assistance program is that you be a certified CDFI.
Okay, even though it says emerging CDFI in this listing in the NOFA.
Right, because you can both be a small and emerging CDFI and certified. They're not mutually exclusive categories. So if you are not yet, in the definition of a CECA small and emerging group is tied to your financial activities start date as well as your balance sheet size, so total assets, and that's described in the NOFA from last year. And so I would just refer to that. But they're not mutually exclusive categories, so that there are small and emerging CDFIs based on those conditions that have obtained certification. So in other words, if in 2021 you obtain your certification, and if you're a loan fund and you have total assets, I think it was $5 million. So your balance sheet is $3 million, and or you started financing activities in the last 3 years, you would be certified, but you would still be eligible to apply for financial assistance as a small and emerging CDFI.
So the appropriate thing for us.
Jumping in. Oh, sorry. I also just wanted to mention, Bill, organizations can apply for up to 3 TA awards as uncertified organizations. So even though you received a TA award last year, you would still be eligible if you're uncertified to apply for another one this year.
That was my question coming up. Thank you very much.
Oh, good.
I show no further questions in queue.
Great, Valerie. So maybe as you're teeing it up, it looks like there's some more maybe audio glitches coming through. I've not encountered any since that brief one that happened during the presentation. And again, for everyone, this is being recorded, so if you have a colleague or you want to refer to this later, if your colleague wasn't able to join us today, we'll be posting this as we have in past rounds as soon as it becomes available. But maybe, Valerie, if there are any more questions joining in the queue, what I'll do is just show folks where the materials from last year are that, we have sort of indicated you can continue to reference. And I think, as far as folks that may not have applied for any CDFI fund, technical assistance, or financial assistance program in the past, materials that we've got up there from last year are good, representation of both programs. And so I'll just quickly navigate there, maybe while Valerie, if there are any other questions coming through, or Elizabeth, if you see anything else in the chat. But if you go to our cdfifund.gov, homepage here, that's the URL, and I go under programs, and then the drop-down menu programs, and we have the CDFI program and the Native Initiatives program. Both of these are administered through the same process that we're convening the kickoff call. They both offer the financial assistance and technical assistance programs that Elizabeth and Matthew introduced here. So I'll just click on the Native Initiatives program, and this is symmetrical. So if you click on CDFI, it pretty much looks the same. There's a program intro and overview, talks about eligibility, and then down at the very bottom is our 5-step application process. And under step 2, apply, if you click on this link, application materials, it will bring you directly to all of the materials from 2020. And so again, this is a good proxy, at least, of how things looked for last year. And when our 2021 NOFA gets released and all of the guidance materials are updated, they will be posted on the same page. But this is a really good indication of everything we posted last year. You can see here's the 2020 pre-application webinar recording. That's essentially what we're doing right now for 2021. So we will post the 2021 link up here as soon as the recording is available. There's a nice indication of the overall schedule. And then we've got, our webinar upcoming schedule here. This is all the recordings that we did last year. You can look at those. So if you're a new group and you're not certified, I think, Bill, your questions are coming. You got a TA application last year. You're not yet certified, but you're eligible to apply for TA again. So you can access last year's recording. And then, again, the FA recordings on there as well. And then we've got all of the guidance materials. And I think the most appropriate for people to review here are items 1, which is the NOFA, the application overview, which is a collection of slides that presents details on both programs, and then, of course, the guidance materials themselves, which include the base FA guidance materials, all of the supplementals, and finally, I think the other document to sort of get you in the know of how we look at applications, this document right here, which is the evaluation process, is really useful to help you know, like, are you going to be competitive? How do you know, what, as you're thinking about what program to apply for, maybe you're a certified group, you can assess the pros and cons of going for an FA application versus going for a technical assistance application. Again, if you're a certified, if you're not a small and emerging group, you're only going to be eligible to apply for FA. So all of that's spelled out on the website. And again, the CDFI fund page, CDFI program page will look pretty much the same, CDFI program, and then down at the bottom, apply and application materials. So I hope that's helpful. Valerie, I don't know if any more calls came through, or Elizabeth or Matthew?
Yes, we did get another question. I'm sorry?
Please, Valerie, thank you.
Our next question comes from Carl Hughes. Your line is open.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, hey, Carl.
Hello, how are you? Calling from Dallas,
sir.
Texas. I have a question concerning TA. Is there a deadline for a TA application that's, or is it the same as the deadline for FA funding, and that 30 days after the NOFA is issued?
Yeah, Matthew, do you want to answer that? I'll just bring up the schedule here. And the short answer is that they're concurrent schedules, but Matthew, maybe a couple of folks joined a little late if you want to run through this slide again to help draw out our sort of two deadlines, Matthew?
Sure, no problem, Andrew. So basically, after the date of the release of the NOFA, you have these 4 items that you have to accomplish within 30 days after that NOFA is published. SF424, creating an AMOS account, entering your EIN and DUNS number, and also if you're a CDFI eligible applicant and you want to apply for more than $700,000. But to your question, if you're applying for FA or TA, it doesn't matter. Both of those applications are going to be due in AMOS 60 days after the NOFA is published. And the NOFA will come with, you won't have to guess whether it's 30 or 60 days and what that date is. The NOFA will include some hard dates that are based on the date of publication, so there won't be any guessing about that once the NOFA is published.
Thank you. So you cannot obtain TA assistance until after in other words, you can't obtain TA assistance now to help you with the certification process before the NOFA is issued. Is that correct?
Correct. So the way most folks use this is, if you're not a certified CDFI and you're interested in, applying, the way most groups, come through that we've seen historically are you're a financial institution, you're putting together the aspects of a financial institution, and you want to become a certified community development finance institution. You will come in as an uncertified group, say, this year in 2021, and you will write your application, and part of the TA Technical Assistance Award, the intent there is to help you to become certified. And so as a recipient of a TA award, proceeds are, designed to help you become certified. And so a lot of groups, they can put together a certification application after one TA award and become eligible to apply for FA in the subsequent year. And so that would be sort of like the ideal scenario where we see a number of groups that are using the TA program as a springboard for a larger and more, comprehensive financial assistance award, but that would happen in a subsequent funding round.
Thank you for that clarification. One more question. It sounded from your answer as if there is some funding through the technical assistance program, but it's for technical assistance in getting certification the following year. Is that correct?
That's one of the uses. We also have groups that are certified that are using the technical assistance award. Think of technical assistance as like operating capital. So, these are operating grants, so you can help, expand your organization. A lot of it is becoming certified, but even if you are certified, you are eligible if you are a small and emerging CDFI to apply for technical assistance. And then the financial assistance, think of that as like capital grants. That is the intent behind those are to help, improve, expand your financing activities. And again, we're sort of getting into the intent of the follow-up webinars, which will be available after the NOFA is released. But we just want to give you a little flavor of the differences between the two programs. And so typically, the scenario you're describing is you would use the TA program this year in 2021, and if successful in obtaining an award, you would then be able to use that capital to help you become certified. And in fiscal year 2022, conditioned, of course, on funding, the financial assistance program would be there to help support your financing activities of your organization.
Thank you. But just for further clarification for me, because sometimes it's hard for me to understand exactly. So focused on the TA program itself. It sounds as if the TA program is to help the organization, the new emerging organization, get structurally sound enough so that it can be used as a platform for community development and getting further funding assistance or EFA funding in the following year. Is that a good interpretation?
Yeah, that's a fair synopsis. And again, there'll be more information about the explicit uses of the technical assistance program, but really, these are capacity building grants, and they're helping your organizations become, better at what it is you're doing or what you're proposing to do. And as part of that process in becoming a certified community development financial institution is, increasing the capacity so you can succeed in getting a future FA award. But really, the place that it sounds like your organization may be in, you won't be eligible for the FA program until you become certified. And, we'll have more information on the differences between both those programs after the NOFA is released. But a good place to look at that, again, is back on the website. You can download sort of the information on what TA is designed for. But that sounds like a perfect fit for your organization to apply for in 2021.
Thank you very much for clarification there. Next, I'd like to transition into the FA program. It sounds as if is there any minimum financial amount that the organization, the new emerging organization, must have already in their treasury, so to speak, or as part of their assets in order to qualify for certification? Or can a zero bounce or a $1,000 bounce new NUFA organization still be able to earn or obtain certification and receive funding?
So I'm going to defer to, and I don't like to do this because of the timing, but our certification, there's a business unit who is dedicated to helping groups become certified, and they convene monthly calls a lot like this one, where they will help get into the details of the certification process. I think for the purposes of this call, and I know we've got over 100 people on, that like for this call, we really want to look at setting people up to succeed in the financial assistance and technical assistance program. And so I'm happy to follow up with you, Bill, and provide a referral to the CCME, that's our certification business unit, so that you can join one of those webinars where this content is covered in great depth. Is that fair, Bill?
Well, my name is Carl, but it's
sorry, Carl.
Somewhat fair. It's somewhat fair.
Forgive me, Carl. Sorry.
That's all right. That's all right. My question really doesn't go to the details of the certification. My question is fairly simple. Is there a minimum asset requirement for the NEFA to be able to apply for certification? That's my question. Is there a minimum?
Hi, Carl. This is Elizabeth from the program team, and I think there's a couple pieces getting conflated here. There's not a NOFA that comes out related to certification. Certification's an ongoing process. In terms of the NOFA for the FA, no, there is no hard minimum portfolio size.
Thank you. That's my answer. That's my question. There is no minimum financial requirement for that. I appreciate the webinar. You've been very helpful, and stay healthy. Thank you.
Thank you. And Carl's question makes me think of another here that we've seen come through the chat. The CDFI program certifies organizations as CDFIs. There's another certification we do called a CDE for Community Development Entity. and we have an organization asking, if they have become certified as a CDE and can they apply for our FA and TA programs. So the answer to that is that it is the same criteria. If you are not certified as a CDFI already, then you would be applying for our TA grant, and as part of that, it's to demonstrate you are interested and can demonstrate that you can become a CDFI through meeting the 7 criteria that, as Andrew mentioned, the certification team holds monthly webinars about the details of becoming a financing entity and what's needed there. But if you are a CDE that also wants to be a CDFI, yes, you can certainly go ahead and apply for our TA grant.
Thanks, Elizabeth. And I just pulled up for Carl and any other folks that are interested in the certification process. This, again, is put on by our colleagues over in the certification business unit, and I've got the schedule up here. It looks like the next certification call on schedule here is December 17th, which is a Thursday, 3 to 4 p.m., and they've got the standing number here. So if you go to the certification page under CDFI certification, at the very bottom, they'll have their monthly conference calls where they'll cover the certification criteria in great detail. Thanks, Elizabeth.
Thank you, Andrew. That's really helpful. We've had another question come in over the chat from Cheryl. She notes that they're current in AMOS. They have someone identified as their authorized representative that they expect to be retiring, and would that be a problem? And the answer is no. We understand that authorized representatives change, so go ahead and, if that person is legally signing things now, that is just fine, and best of luck to them in retirement. You can go into your AMOS account at any point to designate a new authorized representative. Valerie, do we have any more questions from the phone?
I show no further questions. Thank you.
Okay, well, this has been great. We'll give folks a couple more moments here to ask any additional questions. Great participation today. Have, I think, well over 100 people that had joined. Again, these materials will be available as recordings and as slide decks shortly after this presentation, and there is a follow-up to this. So if you have joined go to our subscribe button, and this will allow you to receive updates from our Gov delivery service. And so our colleagues at our External Affairs Department maintain this. This is a good place to sign up so that you're always assured to get, fresh information. And we will put out a informative, blog statement in making these materials that were recorded today available, so that if you had a colleague or you want to refer to this later at any point, those resources are handy. Valerie, did anyone else come in?
No further questions in queue.
We've got one last question from the chat, and that is Lisa asking about the timeline for our 2021 NOFA. And if you missed it earlier, we expect that the 2021 NOFA will be available in the first calendar quarter of calendar year 2021.
Yep, excellent. Well, great participation. We're really excited to, again, make these program resources available. We hope everyone continues to stay safe and stay well and stay impactful in the communities that you're making a difference in every day. It's just great to be part of this ecosystem of community development financial institutions, and we wish you a great afternoon. Thank you.